Hello everyone, welcome in today's edition. Well, is that something very interesting, and most of you want to actually know how to develop. Before you guys can also view live from the website. Unfortunately today my network is kind of not balanced enough, so I cannot be able to broadcast in multi-dimensions or multi-sites. So with this being said, I want you guys to get ready and to start. This is definitely completely for beginners. So if you are a beginner, if you don't know anything about PHP, what a PHP is or whatsoever it is your opportunity to learn PHP at this moment. So for you to be able to be on track with us as we are going, there are some requirements that I may require you to have. Okay, make sure if you are new to the channel you subscribe and hit the like button, and then you comment your questions down in the comment section. I will get back to you just after this course. Alright, let's just move on and go. First, my name is Tandele. People say this DIR is SDR, but it's not DR, it's actually Director 188. That's the name I go with, so you can call me Director 188 Tandele. Enough about me, let's just get to business. Alright, intro now to the PHP. An basic introduction. Now there are two types of PHP that I would like you guys to know. Okay, one is the procedural PHP, and secondly, if you do not know to learn it work step by step. If you advance into PHP, now this is a bit more advanced PHP, where we are going to deal with building complex system, very big website, dynamic website, and so many awesome things. Okay, so these are the two types. So in that you do not know anything in PHP, you do not know anything in PHP. So this is the right time for you. If you if you know something about PHP programming, you can go ahead and browse more on that. But as we progress, we shall reach to that level you are in. But this one here, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Even if you don't do even IT, you're not doing any, don't be asking, because this course comes from big good foundation in Flash. Let's just move on. Now, what is PHP? Well, PHP, it's actually an acronym which stands for the Hypertext Preprocessor. Now, PHP, it's a programming language which is used, or that is used to run scripts or codes at the server side. Okay, the server side means back end. Example, okay, website for example. Okay, whatever we are looking at here, this is the front end. This is what we here interact with it and back end. But by the end of this course, you will know how to get all of these things right. Now look at this side here. Okay, writings, and these scripts, the normal user does not know anything about it. This is what we call the back end script here. That is complicated people with bunch of things like this. Okay, let me show you another way. Let me just view the whole. Have you seen these codes? Have you seen this script? If there is, it is you. What is the server side? This is what runs in the server side. Okay. Now, let's move on. Now, since we say rather than the client side, now the client side is the front end where we see the design actually. Okay, PHP does not deal with the design. with the front end, but it deals with the back end. Okay. Now, when we look at scripting language such as C with the front end, okay, they deal with the front end. Now, like all of these things we are looking at in the side, all these things we are looking at in the side there, these are what we now refer to as the front end. Okay. Now, for you to understand, note that, what does this mean actually? It means it's a language you can run inside your website, okay, though it does not make sense. Let's get back to our simple example. Okay. Now, we have these codes here. Does it make sense to anybody? You just see bunch of things. You see bunch of things there on your screen. That does not even make sense. Okay. This does not make sense. You can write a lot of PHP codes that does not make any sense. Okay. That's what it means by loosey language. Now, meaning that also you can be able, okay, you can be able to run such codes in the server. Okay. So the things that does not make sense is actually the things that the server understands. In other words, like a computer. Okay, let me say a computer. Now they say computer is just a bunch of zeros and ones. Human beings does not understand the zeros and ones, bunch of zeros and ones and all of that. They don't, and the human does not understand, but the computer understands. So the PHP language, which we do not understand in a human understanding, is understood by the server that we are going to run it in. Okay. Now, let's continue. I hope you guys are getting me clearly, so that if there is anything, if I'm not clear or anything, please write for me down in the live chat so that I can know if I'm not clear. Otherwise, let us continue. Now, why do we need to learn PHP? Before I read for you the comment, the ones on your screen. Now, many people know that PHP is for developing websites. Okay? PHP is for developing websites. Now, when someone asks you what is a website, what will you answer? Why do you need a website? Okay? Let us take an instance of Facebook. Okay? Now, Facebook is a platform where people interact. You come from anywhere, you post things on your wall, and then boom, someone else in America reads it. Okay? I can say simply a platform for interaction of users, okay, or for communication. Some of you use it for communication, of course. Now, PHP, or rather website, have this different functionality. Okay? So, for you to get a what we call website is what we refer to as PHP. PHP gives birth to website. Now, there is different types of website that that PHP interacts with. Okay? Now, there is a website that is there but does not have PHP, does not require any PHP. However, there are some other websites that have PHP. Now, a website that does not have any user interaction is a complete lame HTML website. Okay? And we refer to them as that. But a website or a system, an online system that a user have an interaction with is what we refer to as dynamic PHP website. And an instance of it is Facebook. Okay? Facebook, you can interact, you can upload photo, you can download photo. That means you as a user, you have an interaction with that. Okay? You have an interaction with with your own people. You can be able to upload photos, you can be able to download photos and all that. Okay? Now, this is where the PHP comes in. When you have an interaction, let me repeat, if the website has an interaction, okay, a user can be able to interact with, it means that website is made using PHP. What does this mean? This means that there is a server that contains specific things. Now, when there is an interaction, that means the user input data and then the user also gets data. So when there is putting of something and removing of something, then that means there is a storage. Okay? There is a storage somewhere. If you have Korok, for example, okay? If you have Korok, I don't know how I can refer that to English, but I can describe it as like this box you put, like your saving box for saving your money, anything, okay? Your case and all that, you have it there, okay? You get money, you put it. So when you put it, you know that it's going to be stored, it's going to be kept. So that means when we put stuff, we need to also get stuff, we need to also keep them there. Okay? We need to keep them there. So when we keep them there, later on we can come and take it. Now this scenario means that PHP, since it is a server, it has a storage. A storage, then that means it now deals with the database. Since we know that the storage of a computer system is the database. Okay? Now, this is why you need to learn PHP. Reason you want to learn PHP, to develop website that can be able to store and keep this data for the users. Okay? When you want to create something that a user can interact with using PHP, or though not using PHP, or when you want to create a platform that people can be able to interact with, then that is where your mind reigns at PHP. Okay? Now, secondly, it's also it's very easy language to start with. Okay? Like I stated, PHP is actually designed, or it's actually made for website development. Okay? It makes website development easy. When we have other languages like HTML. HTML, yes, it makes a website, but it's not a responsive website or interactive website where the user can be able to interact. It's only just about viewing. If you want to create websites such as like about your profile, for example, okay? You want to write something about yourself, you're just displaying it there. Okay? Let me give you an example. Let me use our site. Okay, let me use our website to show you the example of it. Okay? Now, we have like for example, let us go to the home page. The home page, is it a good example here? Oh, there is interaction here, there is PHP here. Let me give you another example where, okay, our services. Let's look at the services. Now, look at this page here. Okay, let us just look from here up to here. Ignore the WhatsApp, ignore the other things. Okay, now let us say you create a website like this, just only this. You have only one page. These ones are all not there, but you have only one page like this. The user just comes there to read stuff. Okay, welcome to Afri Learning and all that. There is no any interaction that the user does. Okay, everything is provided there. If it's a contact, if it's a word, if it's whatever details they want, it's just there. They come there, they look at it, and full stop. Nothing else happens. They don't interact with it. If they in case have questions, like they don't have anywhere to click and then type their questions, okay, but it's just there for them to read and to just look at it. Okay, now this is what HTML does. Okay, this is what HTML does. But PHP helps you out to interact, for the website to interact with. Like let me go to About Us. Okay, in the About Us, you will find that you will be able to contact, you will be able to do a lot of things. Okay, get back to it here. Okay, now here there is a button here for you to click. When you click on the Contact Us page, or on the Contact Us button, you will be taken to type something. Okay, you will be taken to type something. Now here I've not registered. You have a login here. You have so many other interactions that you can be able to interact with. Now this is where the PHP comes in. But when we are just made to just come here and read all this story here and then go back to whatever business that we are doing, then like that it means we are not having any PHP there. Okay, now flexibility. Let me get back. Flexibility. PHP programming language is flexible. Okay, this means that there are no hard rules on how to build any feature that you want to build in the website, or in the system. Okay, you will have that flexibility of getting all your problems solved using different ways, different methods. Okay, now this PHP, when you design or when you develop some other complex kind of system using PHP, you will find that PHP has some arithmetics engagement. Okay, have some arithmetics engagement that can help out with solving a specific decision. Like yesterday we looked at we looked at decision making, developing a system for decision making. So that will help you. PHP will help you have the flexibility of getting different methods of solving your problems. Okay, now very important tips you should note. Okay, let me explain these tips one by one so that you understand it clearly. Okay, before you start learning PHP, these are the tips you need to follow. Okay, now number one, I hope we are together and I hope I'm not too fast. Anyway, if I'm too fast, you will still get the time to go back to the video and watch it all over. And if you have any question, please, you can be able to write it in the comment, or you can be able to write it in the page right there. Okay, number one, you should be confident. Okay, you should be confident when you want to learn this PHP programming language. Okay, this is very important. This is very, very necessary for you, since we know that PHP is a server-side programming language commonly used in web development. If you realize in a couple of months what you are actually, or what you actually want to do, then you will have to always give up yourself. Okay, you need to put yourself into it. You should be ready to learn it. That's what it means. Okay, you should be confident, because with PHP there are a lot of things that come out. So many awesome things that we shall look at later on. You'll come to learn. So that's why you need to be confident that you're really putting up yourself for this. Okay? Now, number 2, keep your projects in mind. What does this mean? Of course, by now, you already know why you want to learn PHP. Simple, to develop a website, to develop online systems, and so forth. Okay? It is so useful to have objectives in mind, okay, for what you want to do with this PHP. Now, learning PHP will be a long process, okay? You should be motivated, like earlier I mentioned about being confident, being motivated, being confident in it. You should have your goals. When you're confident enough, you should have your goals. You should have your projects in mind. What do you want to develop? Okay? Learning PHP, what are you targeting? What do you want to do? Okay? This is what I mean here by keep your projects in mind. Keep your goals in mind. Set out things you want to do. Don't just say, okay, let me start running, let me start coding, let me start scripting using PHP and all that. What do you want to do? Okay? Do you want to develop, you want to get a login system? Do you want to do a school management system? Do you want to, what do you actually want to do? So these are the things you should put in mind. Number 3, very important. I should have mentioned this earlier. Learn HTML first. Now, since we know that HTML is the major backbone of everything, like the major design, let's get back to our site again. Let me show you an example with the site. Okay. Now let's get back to the site and look at it. Now, the general things we look at it there, like the design itself. Okay, the design itself is HTML. You need to know basics of HTML for you to be able to get a very good design, for you to be able to develop something useful. You should always put HTML in your mind. You should learn HTML first for you to get these beautiful designs, these navigations, all of these top menus, all of these. These are all HTML. What it means is like the front end design, in other words. Remember that PHP is a back end. Okay, it's scripting language. It's for back end. It's not for front end. So you need to learn a scripting language that can help you out with the front end. So that's where the HTML comes in. Okay? Number 4, you should be always active in learning. Okay? In other words, active learning over passive. Okay? One of the best ways to make learning so interesting and more effective is to always learn actively rather than passively. Okay? You should always be active. Okay? You should always be active to learn. Now, to learn something passively, it means that you just want to simply watch, read, and listen and observe the information. Like right now, you might be there, you just want to watch because you feel like to watch, and then you hear me talking here, you read some of the things I tell you to go to this link, you go to those links that I've given you to go to. However, at the end of the day, you don't take action. Okay? So that is what it means by learning passively. But when you learn actively, it means whatever that you watch right now, whatever that you have learned, you should go and put it into practice. So this is what is very important. And this is a very good tip for every programming language. You don't just have to watch, read, and observe it and leave it there. No. You need to put your hands in practice. You should start typing these things. Whatever that you have watched, go and try it and do it. If it's a system that is to be developed, after setting up the goal, go and do it, because PHP is about doing it. It's not about talking. Just because this is a first lesson that we are catching up with this, that's why there is a bit of talking. But when we start getting to the practical, we start putting our fingers into the keyboard, then that's when it will be more interesting. And this is what PHP is all about. Let's move on. Tip number 5, don't be afraid to break things. This is now when you are active into it, you should always be ready to break it. Okay? Don't be afraid. When you are learning to script, you code. When you get things wrong, you break it down. Don't worry. Start it all over. When we start installing servers and setting up everything, I will tell you the right procedure of how to do it. Because when you are learning, even if you break things, you do whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Okay? This is for the learning purpose. Okay? Now, number 6, turn on error reporting in php.ini or NIN. I will explain that much into details. Later on, when we start going deeper, we shall be finding errors. Okay? Errors from time to time. Errors from time to time. So you should always put on in mind, you should always set your PHP to always outline for you the errors that comes out of your program or the website or the system that you are creating. So you should always make sure that the error is on, the error debugging is on, so that you can be able to identify the lines of your errors. Okay? Now, be careful with the syntax. Okay? Be careful with the syntax. In both your coding and your life professionally as a developer, you will lose hours of your life to syntax errors. Okay? Now, a syntax error just it simply means you write something that PHP did not understand. Maybe you wrote something that the PHP does not understand, and then it gives you error. So this is something you need to put much attention to when you start coding using PHP. So you should always make sure that the line of code you are writing is something that PHP can understand. So this is what it means by syntax. In other words, in a human language, like the language English we talk, it's grammar. Okay? You should speak in a grammar that a person can understand. So when you start speaking English in a grammar that people don't understand, what happens? People start getting confused. People start getting errors. So if you speak something, you are intending for something to happen, but at the end of the day something else happens. That means you have not communicated in the right method or the right way. So that's the same thing with PHP. You should always be careful of the syntax or the errors or what you tell PHP to do. Now, keep your code readable. As you learn to code with PHP, you'll be learning how, I will be instructing you how to outline your codes. You should always make it readable. Now, for example, when you develop a system, when you are the developer of the system, you will later on find that this system is not only going to be used by you. You are the developer, you will develop it, some other people will go and use it. And then people somewhere, or let me say you develop a system for organization X. That organization X have their own ITs there who are going to implement and who are going to maintain that system. You, the developer, you just deal with the developing. After finishing, you give it to them, you take your money and disappear. and then their ITs, specialists, will be the ones to analyze the system, to maintain the system, to upgrade the system, to do whatever with the system the way they want. So when you write your codes during your development should always be neat. Okay? Should always be neat, should be always readable. Readable means it should be clear enough for people to read. When someone looks at it, you start reading the code, you will understand which lines of code it means. Let me give you an example. Okay, let me add another screen on this. Okay, let me give you an example. Someone writes things here, and then another one here, and then another one here, and then another one here, something like that. So when you have a compiled sort of codings like the one you on your screen right now, people will get confused when they don't understand. But when you arrange them in a way that people can understand, maybe this is a bit even clear. Let me give you an example of this. Okay. Look at this. Look at how this is. Look at this here. Someone cannot understand what it means here. Someone does not understand all of this bunch of things. But when you start writing codes, you should always write codes that are very clear. Okay? That can be able for people to be able to read it very, very well. Okay? So this is what it means. Okay? This is what it means here. You should always write your codes so that people can be able to read. Understandable. Okay? Now, next point. Try to solve problem on your own. Okay? Not every time you get error, you run to Tandele to help you out. Not every time you get error, you run to Anthony to help you out. No. Sometimes you need to sit down and then identify the problem yourself. Make sure you identify the small problems first before you rush up to go to other people to help you out. So this is what it means. Okay? You should always be ready to solve problems of your own. Okay? Now, the real question is, when do you run into a problem with your code? Okay? A common reaction will be like someone just immediately runs to ask for help. Now, this is not right. Okay? I know many people will say that it is okay to ask for help. It should asking for help should be encouraged. Yes, but not every time. Not every small error that you get, you immediately run for help. So this is not right. So you should start solving small problems by yourself. To be a professional, you should always start solving the small problems yourself. Okay? Now, with this being said, the tips I've given you here in this guide will help you prepare for a better PHP. If you want to be a professional PHP or website developer or online system developer, you should always put these tips in your mind. This will help you. Basic requirements. HTML, I've already mentioned this to you earlier. You need to know a bit of front-end programming language. Okay? You should know a bit of front-end programming language, that is HTML. Okay? Number 2, we need a server. Remember, from the definition of PHP, PHP is a scripting language that runs in the server side back end. So when we say server side, so that means PHP runs into a server. Okay? PHP runs into a server. Now, what is a server? Maybe some of you will ask that. Okay? Now, a server could be a piece of computer or hardware or a platform, okay, or cloud, okay, that that provides functionality to other programs, okay, or a platform or a house, I can put it like that, that that has let me say, how will I call it, like that has a place for storing or for keeping other programs, okay, if I can put it that way, okay, if I can put it that way, okay. Now, since we say PHP runs in a server, so that means we need a server, okay. Number one, we need the knowledge of HTML. Number two, we need a server to run our PHP, okay. That is two. Number three, we need a text editor. Now, a text editor is where we now write our codes, okay. It's where the actual scripting take place, okay, like what you have seen here, like this this text editor you are seeing on your screen, like this. We need somewhere to write, okay. We need somewhere to write everything that we are going to write, okay. That is the text editor. That's what it means by the text editor, okay. Number three, we need a web browser. A web browser is simple, is where it's actually going to run, okay. It's actually where it's going to run. Like we have like Firefox, we have Chrome, we have Explorer, we have Opera, whatever that you are using, okay. We need a web browser. Alright guys, sorry for that bit of delay, my network kind of a bit run down. This is where we're going to end. We're going to end with this, the installation of local server. We said earlier, we need server. We need a server to run our PHP. We need a text editor and we need a browser. Now, since we know a website like these ones here that we are having, these websites, they run on the cloud, that is online. So that means you need internet to get into these websites, okay. Development always takes place offline, okay. The development always takes place offline. We need to even if we don't have internet, we can run it, okay. So that means we need to install a server in our local computer, in the computer that you're using currently. Remember, these things does not work with the phone, okay. Don't think of using phone. This is a computer stuff, okay. So you need a server to start running that. So now let's go and install these servers, okay. Now and XAML for database, and we have the PHP itself, and we have what we call Perl, okay. Our interest is in the MySQL and the PHP. Since we know that PHP deals with the storage, that means we need a database, and the database that we are going to use is what we call the MySQL. And then we have our general server. So we are going to use this XAML. Just click on it. I am using Linux operating system, Parrot Security OS. I am using that. So when you get to this site here, when you get here, you can check for your version, okay. When you're using computer, if your computer is a Windows computer, download the latest version, okay. download the latest version. If you're watching this video not today or any other day, please download the latest version for Windows. Okay, download always the latest version. Okay, when you're using Linux like mine, also download the latest version. As you can see here, this is 7.4, this is 7.3, 7.2. so download the version that fits you. So the same thing with our OS X, okay, Mac computer. So just go to this site here and then you'll get it. And note something, okay, something very important tip that I want to give you guys. Okay, always make sure that you download from legitimate websites. Okay, make sure you download from a legitimate website, the actual website for these people. Don't go to the other third party websites where they give you this software. Sometimes they give you the softwares with some malicious software, with some virus in it, some Trojan combined together with the system. So when you install it, at the back end of your computer you also install virus. So that is why the major reason why I also like using Linux OS, because of that, so that I don't get infected anyhow like that. Though I will be hacked, but it will not be as common as Windows and Mac computers. So this is something you need to know, guys. When you want to get a software, always get it from legitimate website. Like the ZAM here, the ZAM is a legitimate site. It's their actual website. Okay, it's their actual website that is used. However, in Madness Security, we give you, we have designed this library so that you can get these softwares. We get them from the legitimate website, and then we put it there so that you can be able to get it. So some of them, there are some softwares that you may need which are purchased, which are bought. So we buy them on your behalf. We buy them, and then we provide them for you for free. Sometimes we give you a tip just as an appreciation for keeping up the site. Enough of that. After you download it, I've already downloaded. I've downloaded the Linux version, so I don't need it again. I don't need to download it again. So you just take your time, download the software, and then install it like any other common software that you install, okay, in your computer. Now, the second thing we need, we said we need a text editor. There are so many text editors out there. Some of these text editors, even if you want, you can use a Notepad. Notepad is also good for doing it. You can use your Notepad to write, but Notepad is not arranged. You have also Note++, you can use that. However, me myself personally, I recommend two. Either Atom text editor or Sublime text editor. Reason being is because they give an easy interface, okay, for you to type your stuff, to sometimes when you want, if you are lazy like me, it auto completes for you some codes. Okay, it understands these PHP codes, so it auto completes for you the code sometimes. So you don't have to write the complete code. You just have to write like 2 to 3 words of that. Then when you press tab, then it gives you the general code that you are looking for. So you don't have to type everything from scratch. Okay. Now, something important that I want to walk you through. Okay. Now, after you install in your Windows, okay, I'm not using Windows right now. I'm not using a Windows computer. I'm using a Linux computer. So let me show you my desktop. None of you will hack me, so I am not worried about that. Now, when you get it, when you already install it, you will find you will go to your C. If that is Windows, you will go to local disk C. Excuse me. You go to local disk C, and then you will find something written XAMPP. Okay, you double click on that XAMPP, and then you will find a folder like this. Okay, just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, you will find a folder. Where is my code? Okay, in Linux is LAMP, but in Windows it's written XAMPP. Even in Mac it's written XAMPP. You will find it local disk C, and then you will find a folder called XAMPP. Just double click on it, open it. When you open it, our major interest here in all of this is these HT docs. You will find a folder like this there. So you open that folder. Here in this folder, this is where all the projects, everything that is going to run in the server, all the systems, all the website that is going to run in the server, they are always kept inside this folder. I don't know if you guys are seeing it. Oh my god, it's not even showing. Not even showing. Let me show you. Where is it? Okay. Let me repeat through the whole process. Okay, let me just show you. Okay. In Linux, like I said, it's LAMP, and then in Windows it's XAMPP. So when you open it, you will find this folder called HT Docs. So you open this folder. This is where all our projects are going to be kept. So everything that is going to run in the system, this is where it's going to run. Okay, remember it's HT Docs, and then here. So everything that you want to run runs from here. Okay, from next time I will be running it. I will create a visual machine so that I can be able to show you from Windows how to start it up and how to go about it, so that we can start kicking from there and start writing some codes. Okay, so that is what is going to happen from the next lecture we meet. It's almost an hour, like 2 minutes to the top of the hour. So you guys just take your time, go through the video if you have not been there. So just go back from the beginning and watch the whole video, and then you can also download it and do whatever you want to do with it until we meet again the next time. The next time we come, then we can be able to now start kicking. And just a bonus tip I said earlier, from the tips I've given you, like you can break things. Since it is for learning purpose, I will suggest if you can be able to download a visual machine or VM, if you can be able to download VM, then that will be really, really great. That will really help out. You go to VisualBox, you can be able to download the version of your choice. You can install it and then install Windows inside it. Okay, you can install it in your host machine, and then after that you install Windows inside it, because I already have mine installed ready, of which I will later on show you guys to run it. After you run the Windows inside it, it can be able to help you out when you break things. You can be able to, like, anytime you can anytime be able to get rid of it, and anything you want to do with it, you can be able to do. That is the same thing they normally recommend you to do. That is what they normally recommend you to do when you are learning ethical hacking, when you are learning something new and you actually want to break things and you don't know. So when you want to break things, then that is where you start the whole of this visual machine thing, so that you break things and nobody will even tell you anything about it. Okay guys, so I hope you understand. Please install visual machine so that we start breaking things, and then when we break things we won't have any